is in the files.
Imagine a forest so ancient, so steeped in forgotten history, that its very trees whisper tales of dread. What if the true horror of Evil Dead wasn't just a movie monster, but something far older, something rooted in the actual ground beneath our feet? Join us as we venture into the real-world ancient woods that inspired unimaginable terror. Welcome to the Conjuring Files, where we explore the reality behind the legends, the history behind the horror, and the human stories buried in the soil. I'm your guide, and today, we're not chasing demons in a cabin. We're stepping into the woods themselves, places where the air grows still. The light fades fast, and the silence feels watchful. You've felt it, that prickle on your neck when you walk too deep into the trees. The way shadows seem to shift just beyond your vision. The sudden hush of birdsong, as if the forest is holding its breath. Scientists call it evolutionary vigilance. Our ancestors learned to fear dense, dark places where predators hid. But folklore calls it something else, the presence of the old ones. Long before Sam Raimi filmed Evil Dead, people told stories of forests that remembered, of trees that drank blood, of paths that led nowhere, of voices calling your name when no one's there. These weren't just campfire tales. They were warnings, etched into culture by real disappearances, strange sounds, and the sheer overwhelming power of nature untamed. Because in an ancient wood, you're not the hunter, you're the guest. And some hosts don't like visitors. So what if the real evil wasn't in the book, but in the land itself? Next, the real forests rumored to have inspired the Evil Dead mythos, and the chilling legends that cling to them like moss. While the Evil Dead cabin was built on a soundstage, its spirit was born in real places, forests where settlers vanished. Take Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where Raimi filmed the original movie. Locals tell of the Paulding Light, a ghostly orb, floating in the woods near an old railroad track. Some say it's a brakeman searching for his lost train. Others say it's a warning, don't go deeper. For decades, people reported compasses spinning, radios dying, and an unnatural cold settling in, even in summer. Then there's England's Wychwood Forest, once a royal hunting ground, now shrouded in tales of black shuck hounds. In the 1600s, villagers claimed children disappeared near its heart, never found, only their shoes left neatly placed. Even Germany's Black Forest, home to grim fairy tales, carries darker lore. Before tourism, locals avoided certain glades. And where the air tasted wrong, hunters spoke of trees that bled sap like tears. One 18th century journal describes a man who entered the woods and returned days later, mute, eyes wide. These aren't proof of demons, but they are proof of persistent unease. Early settlers, alone in vast wilderness. Because when you're small in a place that's been alive for millennia, you start to wonder who or what was here first. Next, the supernatural beings folklore says guard these woods, and why people still believe. Across cultures, ancient forests are never just trees. They're thresholds, gateways to other worlds, homes to spirits who don't take kindly to trespassers. In Slavic myth, the Leshy is a forest guardian, part man, part tree, who leads travelers in circles until they starve. In Japan, Kodama are tree spirits whose cry means death. Native American traditions speak of stick Indians, shadowy figures. And then there are the cryptids, the black shuck of England, the beast of Gévaudan in France, the beast of Gévaudan, and others. Even America's own Wendigo, a creature born of starvation and taboo said to haunt northern woods. These aren't random monsters. They're embodiments of real dangers, exposure, hunger, disorientation. But sometimes nature itself creates the illusion. Swamp gas ignites into will-o'-the-wisps. Infrasound from wind through caves causes dread and nausea. Bioluminescent fungi glow in the dark like eyes. To someone alone in the woods, these aren't science. They're signs. One documented case from 1923. 2 hikers in Oregon's Cascade Range reported a wall of whispering trees. They fled, disoriented, and were found miles off course. Later, geologists noted the area had high levels of magnetic rock, known to disrupt spatial awareness. One that watches, waits, and sometimes takes. Because when you can't explain the wind's voice, you give it a name. Next, why your brain is wired to fear the deep woods, even if you've never been lost.
Your fear of the deep woods isn't irrational, it's evolutionary. For millions of years, dense forests meant danger. Predators, venomous snakes, falling branches, getting lost. Our brains developed pattern-seeking vigilance. If a bush rustles, assume it's a threat. Better safe than dead. But in an ancient forest, that instinct goes into overdrive. Sensory deprivation sets in. No horizon, no landmarks, just endless trunks and shifting light. When the external world goes quiet, the mind begins to scream. Psychologists call it perceptual isolation. Starved of stimulus, the brain compensates by generating its own. It tries to fill the void with patterns that aren't there. In one study, participants in a pitch-black soundproof booth for just 15 minutes reported paranoia and bizarre hallucinations. Now imagine hours alone in the woods. Then there is forest vertigo, a physical loss of balance triggered by the repetitive, vertical patterns of ancient trunks. The world literally tilts. Survivors often describe the silence, a sudden, unnatural cessation of all natural sound, a vacuum that feels like a physical weight on your chest. In a remote forest overnight, over 60% of volunteers reported feeling watched, not by an animal, but by a presence that felt intentional, dark, indifferent. Nearly half heard voices or whispers, snatches of conversation just out of reach, the brain misidentifying its own internal dialogue as an external threat. Our ancestors knew this unease well. They didn't call it psychosis, they called it respect. They saw trees as the standing people, living entities with wisdom and memory. To the Cherokee, trees were guardians. To the Japanese, they were kodama, spirits whose heartbeat matched the slow rhythm of the seasons. To harm them was to invite retribution. The Slavic Leshy was a shapeshifter, tall as a pine or small as a blade of grass. He led the disrespectful deep into the thicket where they were never seen again. Animism isn't just a belief, it's a response to the raw power of nature, a way to negotiate with a landscape that doesn't care if we live or die. Evil Dead taps into this perfectly. The cabin isn't scary. It's the isolation, the trees pressing in, the loss of control. When Ash screams into the void, we feel it. Because the scariest thing about the forest isn't what's in it. It's how small it makes you feel. It reveals our insignificance in the face of deep time. Today, we still seek that thrill. Urban explorers film haunted trails. TikTok is full of clips that blend beauty with a creeping sense of wrongness. We crave the mystery we've tried to pave over. In a world of GPS and Wi-Fi, the deep woods remain one of the last places where we are not in control, where technology fails and instinct must take over. Hikers still leave offerings at spirit trees, not because they are superstitious, but because they feel it, that ancient, heavy presence that demands a tax of respect. So next time you walk into the trees, ask yourself, do you feel peace or presence? Is the calm you feel real? Or is it the caution of a prey animal? We'd love to hear your stories. Have you ever seen a path that wasn't there before? Seen something that looked like a man, but moved like a shadow? Share your experiences. The truth isn't in the cabin. It's in the silence between the trees. This is the Conjuring Files. Stay small, stay safe. Silence.